creepy people, and welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, we are in a much different setting. It's probably a lot more echoey in here because we are currently in my living room with my movie collection. I have Michael here hanging out with us today. So I am kind of mixing up my content here on my channel, and a lot of you guys wanted to see more horror movies, more horror movie collection videos. So my air just kicked on, so hopefully you can still hear me okay. It is like blazing ass hot right now, so my air needs to be on, but hopefully that noise isn't too distracting for you guys. As you can tell by the title, the first video of this little series that I am doing is my top 5 favorite horror movie remakes, and I figured we could kind of switch up where I'm sitting. So let's go ahead and jump right into this video. The one thing I've noticed about the movie industry and about horror movies in general is there have been quite a bit of remakes that have been coming out. I have compiled a little list of my top 5 favorite movies that have been remade that I really like. So the first movie that I want to talk about is, of course, Stephen King's It. This movie was made back in 1990, and recently, a couple years ago, they came out with a remake of It. There is 2 parts to the remake. I have not seen the second part yet. I think it's supposed to come out sometime this year. But the first one that I have on this list is the remake of It. So I have the original, of course, and I also have the remake. I really enjoyed this movie. I know a lot of people were kind of like hit or miss on it. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people did like it. Me personally, I really enjoyed the remake. I think the one thing that I like about it is that they kept the Stephen King feel to the movie, but they made it more modern, and I am in love with Pennywise in the remake. Tim Curry in the original movie is great. He's creepy. Back in the 90s, this kind of clown was absolutely terrifying to a lot of people, but the way they did Pennywise in the remake of this movie was phenomenal. He is creepy, he's scary, I love his voice, his character is just awesome. And honestly, I found the remake of It to be a lot more scary. I found myself being a lot more scared of this movie than I was the original, but they're still really great movies. You can never go wrong with a true classic. I'm very anxious to see the second part of this movie. I am very excited. I will definitely buy it to add to my collection. The second one that I have on my list is, of course, Evil Dead. Now, I don't own the original Evil Dead, unfortunately. I only own the remake, but I do have the original Evil Dead saved on my TV, so I will watch it every once in a while, but I really want to own like the hard copy of it. So that one was done in, I want to say maybe the late 80s? Could be wrong. Of course, everyone loves Ash, you know, shop smart, shop S-smart, you know what I'm saying? Like, everyone loves Evil Dead, everyone loves Ash's character. And I remember the first time I ever saw the original Evil Dead, I was maybe around 13, 14 years old, and it was actually playing on IFC, if you guys remember that channel. It was playing on IFC, and I remember that movie scared the shit out of me. You guys know anything that has anything to do with demons or possession or anything like that, I absolutely love. So when I heard that they were coming out with the remake of this, I was really excited. This was remade in, I want to say, 2013. This movie is phenomenal. It is scary, it is creepy, it is fucked up, and it's very close to the original of the movie. The only difference is, obviously, it's a lot more modern, it's a lot more scary, the special effects are obviously a lot better. Now, the one thing that this movie is known for, other than Ash's character, is the scene where one of the female characters gets sexually assaulted by a tree branch, or, you know, the demons, you know, kind of sexually assault her with a tree. If you guys have seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't seen it, you can't make this shit up. It actually happens in the movie, and I found that the way it was done in the remake was I feel like it was more tastefully done in the remake than it was in the original. That movie is very much known for that particular scene. It's something that's never been done before. Like, when everyone saw it, they were like, wow, what the fuck is that? Like, that's insane, like, that's fucked up. And it is, and the way they did it in the remake was very tastefully done. It wasn't anything disturbing or anything like that. I love this movie so much. All of these movies that I am showing you, I have seen the original and the remake about 6+ times each. Like, I always watch these movies. The third movie that I really enjoyed the remake of was, of course, Stephen King's Carrie. Now, this movie was made back in 1976, and this is with the iconic Sissy Spacek, which it's actually kind of cool because she plays Samara's mom in The Ring 2, which I absolutely love. Sissy Spacek just has a very unique look to her, a very kind of creepy look to her, so her in The Ring 2 was phenomenal, and her and Carrie is iconic. Everyone knows Carrie, everyone knows Sissy Spacek and Carrie. I love this movie. You can't go wrong with it. It is such a unique idea, and I think that's one of the reasons why I enjoy Stephen King so much, is I just really enjoy the way he writes stories and how unique they are and how original they are and how they're something that you've never ever seen before. And in 2013, Chloe Grace Moretz played Carrie in the remake. So quite a few years later, over 30 years later, about give or take 30 years, they remade the movie Carrie. And I was pretty nervous about this movie because, you know, I didn't think Chloe Grace Moretz would do a very good job kind of emulating the character of Carrie, but I was actually very, very pleasantly surprised in this remake. Julianne Moore, who is also a phenomenal actress, plays Carrie's mom, and I think she does a fabulous job. She has the red, long hair. She's like that overly religious, kind of cuckoo crazy. She pulls off that character absolutely beautifully. I like the way they did the remake. There are some parts that I didn't feel were very necessary. Like in the beginning of the movie, it shows what the original didn't show when Carrie was actually born. It actually shows the mom giving birth to Carrie and how she almost killed her at birth and how right from the beginning she thought of her as a big sin. They did a really, really good job of keeping it as close to the original as possible. And if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend that you do. 2 thumbs up. The next one that I have on my list, number 4, is of course the classic, and that is Poltergeist. Now, Poltergeist is one of those movies that growing up, Poltergeist was never my favorite movie. I mean, I do enjoy it. It's a classic. It's great. I'm glad I own it. I've never really liked kind of ghost type movies or poltergeist type movies. This was made back in 1982, and in 2015, they came out with the remake. Now, I don't know if I would necessarily call this a remake because to me personally, the remake seems like a totally different movie than the original. There are some parts and some aspects that are very similar, but I feel like these are kind of 2 separate movies, but it's also a remake at the same time, you know? The remake is definitely more creepy, it's more suspenseful, it's more thrilling than the original. So when it comes to both of these movies, I do think I like the remake a little bit more. And of course, the number one thing that this movie is known for is the iconic line, "They're here." That is such a classic line. Whenever someone says that, everyone knows that's from Poltergeist. And in this movie, I was extremely disappointed because they didn't have that line in there. They had something similar, but it just wasn't the same. It wasn't the same like chilling factor as the original has, so that's one thing that I do like this movie more for. Another thing I really liked is the little girl in this movie. She looks almost identical to the little girl in the original. The only difference is the one in the original was a very light blonde and she is a brunette. And then movie number 5 for my top 5 favorite horror movie remakes is of course the Amityville Horror. This one was filmed back in 1979 and I will never forget this movie. This one is like a 3-pack, so it has like 3 different movies, but it does have the original in here. I will never forget seeing this movie for the first time when I was a kid, and I was absolutely petrified of it. It scared the shit out of me. And I remember watching this with my dad because I used to watch a lot of horror movies with my dad, which is kind of where my love for horror movies came, is when I would watch them with my dad. And the part in the original where they hear like a drum, like they hear like a band in the basement, I remember that was my dad's all-time favorite part. He just thought that was so funny, and I'll never forget that. So I have a lot of really good memories with the original Amityville Horror. The demon's voice is terrifying, you know, and the priest is in the bathroom and, you know, he starts sweating and suffocating and there's the flies, and then you just hear the demon, "Get out." You know, like, it's so fucking creepy. And when I saw that they came out with a remake with Ryan Reynolds, I was like, what? Ryan Reynolds, the actor who plays Deadpool, the actor who's in The Proposal, the actor who's in Just Friends, is going to be in the Amityville Horror as the main character. But when I saw it, I was very, very surprised. It just blows my mind that actors can do that. So this remake is kind of older. This was remade in 2005 with, of course, Ryan Reynolds and it's a really good movie. It's very similar to the original. It's just, of course, a little bit more modernized with different actors. And Ryan Reynolds does a really good job of portraying that really kind of creepy, you know, disturbed, depressed, you know, it's a really, really good remake, and I'm glad that I have it in my collection. Alright guys, and that is everything that I have for my top 5 favorite horror movie remakes. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you thought of it. Do you like this series? Do you want me to keep it going? Let me know down in the comments. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give me a huge, huge thumbs up. Let me know down in the comments what your personal favorite horror movie remake is. I would love to know. If you are new here, I just want to welcome you to my channel. Make sure you go down and hit that red subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos from me. I do upload every 3 to 4 days on this channel. As always, I will see you guys very soon in my next video. I love you guys. Bye!